I look at his wife at the time like, excuse me, man, like, would you insist on your son signing this right here? Like, you know, like, if I was, would you recommend this? She was like, yeah, I would. And at that time, that was like my confirmation.
No lawyer, no nothing.
Lawyer, no nothing.
Wack100 was supposed to be Blueface's manager and business partner, but instead, it looks like he's been playing him out of millions for years. Let's break down how one of hip-hop's most talked about managers might have pulled off one of the wildest money moves in the industry, right under everyone's nose. Wack100, real name Cash Jones, is a veteran in the Los Angeles music scene. He's known for controversial artists and keeping his name buzzing with his loud, unfiltered personality. Before the fame and industry ties, Wack was a street dude who built his name the hard way. Over the years, he's worked with big names like The Game and Ray J, but his business relationship with Blueface turned out to be his most profitable and most questionable move ever. Meanwhile, Blueface, born Jonathan Porter, was just a regular dude from LA trying to make it out. He was caught up in street life until one viral moment changed everything. That offbeat banger, Thotiana, blew up out of nowhere. He had no clue about contracts, percentages, or music deals. He was just a street rapper who accidentally hit gold, and that made him the perfect target for someone with experience and hustle like Wack100.
I always knew Blueface was pretty stupid. I'm gonna tell you why. Blueface is signed to Wack100 and managed by Wack100. Let me tell you how this works. When you sign to a label, they take at least half already. Then you're getting managed by the guy who owns the label. So of your 50% that you're getting, or less than 50%, he's still taking at least 20% of that too. It's double dipping. You get what I'm saying?
You got this young, fresh artist with no management, no lawyer, no game plan. Money's rolling in, but he's got no idea how to protect it. That's when Wack swooped in like a shark in the water, ready to help, or so it seemed. Even Blueface later said that's when things started moving funny. The story goes that Wack's own daughter heard Thotiana and showed her dad the track. Wack instantly saw dollar signs and jumped into Blueface's DMs trying to set up a meeting. But Blueface wasn't exactly thrilled. When you Google Wack100, all that pops up is beef, fights, and chaos. Blueface even admitted he didn't really want to deal with him at first, saying, when you Google him, people tell you about him. It's nothing but crazy. And to make things even messier, back in the day, Wack100 used to go by Crip Killer Wack, while Blueface is a known Crip. That alone made the whole situation way more tense. Still, Wack kept calling, texting, and pushing for a meeting, trying to win him over. Blueface kept brushing it off until one of his homies told him to just pull up and see what Wack had to say. At that point, Blueface was doing everything solo, booking his own shows, shooting his own videos, running his own moves. Major labels like Atlantic and Empire were circling around trying to sign him, but he didn't trust that they understood where he came from or how he moved in the streets. Everything was lining up for Wack100 to step in, and that's exactly what he did. When a lady from Atlantic Records asked Blueface if he was a Cry instead of a Crip, that's when it hit him. These corporate people had no clue about his world. One day, he was just chilling at the park in the hood, vibing with his people, when Wack100 started blowing up his phone again, telling him to come to his house. Blueface wasn't feeling it, but Wack wasn't taking no for an answer. He even sent a car straight to pick him up. When Blueface pulled up to Wack's mansion, he couldn't help but be impressed. He later said, when you see somebody who got it, it's like, okay, I like that. That's exactly what Wack wanted, to show off the lifestyle, the cars, the mansion, the money. He wanted Blueface to see him as someone who could open those same doors and take him to that next level. But here's where it gets wild. Before they even had a real talk about business, Wack already had a contract written up and sitting on the table, ready to go. Think about that for a second. That's not just being prepared, that's calculated. That's what people call predatory behavior.
His wife at the time like, excuse me, man, like, would you insist on your son signing this right here? Like, you know, like, if I was your son, would you recommend this? She was like, yeah, I would. And I signed at that time. That was like my confirmation.
No lawyer, no nothing.
Lawyer, no nothing.
Okay.
Then came the moment that sealed the deal. Blueface turned to Wack's wife and asked her straight up, would you tell your own son to sign this right here? Like, if I was your son, would you recommend it? And she said yes. That one yes changed everything. Blueface trusted her. He thought, No way a mother would steer me wrong. So right there on the spot, no lawyer, no review, no second opinion, he signed the papers. Just like that, his entire career was locked into one of the most lopsided deals the game has ever seen. Now here's where Wack100's finesse game really shows itself. That contract wasn't just a management deal. It was both a record deal and a management deal tied together, meaning Wack100 was getting paid twice from the same money stream. As Blueface's label, Wack takes 50% of all music earnings right off the top. Then, as his manager, he takes another 20% of what's left. Do the math, that's 70% of Blueface's money going straight into Wack's pocket. DJ Academics even broke it down on stream, calling it exactly what it is, double dipping. And he wasn't lying. Normally, an artist either has a record deal or a management deal, but never both with the same person. That's a massive conflict of interest. A manager is supposed to fight for the artist, to get them the best deal possible. But how can he do that when he's also the one cutting the check? To put it in perspective, most managers take 15 to 20%, and record labels usually split profits 50-50 after recouping costs. But Wack built a system where he wins both ways, and Blueface loses every time. And it gets even worse. This isn't just a one-year setup. These types of contracts lock artists in for multiple albums and years. That means for as long as Blueface keeps dropping music, Wack100's been pocketing around 70% of everything. For years now, he's been eating off that deal. And unless something changes, he'll keep eating for a long time. Fast forward to today, and the results of that shady contract are finally showing. Blueface just got out of jail, and reports say he came home broke. Can you imagine that? A rapper who once had platinum records, viral hits, and millions of fans worldwide, now struggling to stay afloat? Even his crab restaurant, the one he was promoting heavy, isn't doing too well either. When you're only keeping 30% of your own money, how are you supposed to build anything lasting? Businesses, investments, generational wealth, it's almost impossible. Most of his earnings have been going straight into Wack100's pockets, and word on the street is that Blueface might even have to sell his house just to stay above water. That's wild. This right here is a perfect example of how these predatory contracts can crush an artist's future. While Wack100's out here living large, showing off mansions, cars, and designer fits on social media, the artist who made the music, the one who put in the work, is struggling to keep his head up. And the craziest part? Blueface is still locked into that same deal. Even if he wanted to walk away, it's not that simple. These contracts are built like traps, nearly impossible to break without paying massive penalties or fighting long, expensive legal battles. It's like signing your freedom away with a pen. And remember, Blueface was young when all this went down. Barely 21, just a kid from the streets with no clue how the music business really worked. Wack100 saw that and took full advantage, locking him into a setup that clearly benefits Wack way more than it ever did Blueface. But this situation goes deeper than just one artist. It's part of a bigger problem in the industry, where older, more experienced businessmen prey on hungry young artists who just want a shot at success. They flash fancy cars, promise fame, and move fast to get signatures before anyone can ask real questions.
Blueface was pretty stupid. I'll tell you why. Blueface is signed to Wack100 and managed by Wack100. Let me tell you how this works. When you sign to a label, they take at least half already. Then you're getting managed by the guy who owns the label. So of your 50% that you're getting, or less than 50%, he's still taking at least 20% of that too. It's double dipping. You get what I'm saying?
Looking back, all the warning signs were right there. Having a contract ready before even discussing terms, huge red flag. Mixing management and record deals into one, another red flag. Not giving an artist any time to get legal help, that's manipulation 101. And the most twisted part of it all, using Wack100's wife to make the deal look trustworthy. That's next level psychological manipulation. It made Blueface feel like he was getting advice from family, when in reality, he was getting finessed into one of the worst deals in rap history. This whole situation proves one thing loud and clear. Industry knowledge matters. Artists can't just depend on trust and vibes when it comes to business. If Blueface had understood contract basics or even had one good lawyer look over that paper, he could have avoided this trap completely. From Wack100's side, he probably feels justified, like he helped Blueface blow up, book big shows, and get his name out there. But at the end of the day, helping someone shine doesn't give you the right to take almost everything they earn. Taking 70% of someone's earnings? That's straight up wild by any standard, especially when that person's the one doing all the creative work, spending hours in the studio, putting their name and face on the line. The power balance here isn't just uneven, it's completely one-sided. Wack100 basically holds the keys to Blueface's entire career, his money, his deals, his every move. That's not a partnership, that's ownership. When one person has that kind of control, they can do whatever they want with your finances, and you're stuck watching from the sidelines. And here's the worst part, there's no easy way out. For Blueface, it's gotta be maddening knowing he can't just walk away. These industry contracts are built to trap you in, sealed tighter than concrete. To break free, you'd have to pay back advances, cover legal fees, and sometimes even cough up more money than you've ever made. So while Blueface is out here trying to stay afloat, selling his house and fighting legal battles, Wack100's still sitting pretty, collecting that massive 70% cut from every single thing Blueface does. That's millions over the years, money that should have been in Blueface's pocket, not someone else's. If there's one major takeaway here, is this. Never sign a contract without your own lawyer looking it over. Doesn't matter how cool the person seems or how sweet the deal sounds. If you don't get independent legal advice first, you're gambling with your whole future. Because in this business, trust doesn't pay the bills, and loyalty doesn't stop fine print from robbing you blind. A lot of these so-called industry mentors love to play the father figure role, acting like they're guiding the next generation. But most of the time, they're just chasing their next payday. Real mentorship doesn't mean taking 70% of somebody's grind. Wack's mansion, luxury cars, and flashy lifestyle created a whole illusion. It made Blueface believe he could hit that same level of success just by signing with him. But what Blueface didn't realize was that Wack's empire wasn't built off his own hits. It was built off taking huge cuts from artists like him over and over again. That's the part that stings the most. And this kind of damage doesn't stop with money. It hits deeper. When artists can't keep what they earn, they lose the ability to invest in their own futures, build up their families, or put something back into their communities. It keeps them tied to the same system that's been using them from the start. If Blueface had the right legal rep from day one, things could have gone completely different. A solid entertainment lawyer would have spotted the red flags instantly, that double-dipping setup, that 70% cut, and shut it down fast. They could have separated the deals or negotiated way better terms. And this is where industry education comes in. If up-and-coming artists had real access to proper information about contracts and standard deal structures, they'd know right away that 70% is outrageous, and that letting your manager also be your label is a straight-up conflict of interest. No young artist should have to learn that the hard way. If Blueface had just taken a step back and talked to other artists with real industry experience, they probably would have told him straight up, don't sign that. They would have spotted those red flags from a mile away. All it would have taken was a few days to think things through, research how standard deals usually work, and maybe call up a few people who'd been through it before. That little bit of patience could have saved them millions. The urgency around that deal? Totally fake. Wack100 created that pressure on purpose, making Blueface feel like it was now or never, when really he had options. Major labels like Atlantic and Empire were already showing interest. And sure, their deals wouldn't have been perfect either, but at least they wouldn't have taken 70% of his money. That's unheard of. Now fast forward to today, and Blueface is living with the fallout from that one rushed decision. He's out of jail, broke, watching his business ventures crumble, and even having to sell his stuff just to stay afloat. All while Wack100 keeps collecting that massive cut from everything he built. The irony is painful. Blueface's success made Wack rich, but that same contract kept Blueface from building his own wealth. It's like working for a company where your boss gets rich off your labor, while you can't even pay your own bills. Except in this case, you can't quit. That's the trap. At this point, Blueface doesn't have many options. He could try to renegotiate, but why would Wack100 ever give up his golden goose? He's got zero incentive to cut that 70% down. Breaking the contract? That'll probably cost more than Blueface even has right now. Between legal fees, penalties, and back payments, it's a financial nightmare. So that leaves him with one choice. Keep grinding under these same terms and hope to make enough to live off that tiny 30%. But even then, that's a tough road. Because when you know most of your money's going to somebody else, how do you stay motivated? It's not just a financial problem anymore. It messes with your head. That kind of deal can drain your creativity, kill your drive, and make you start questioning why you're even doing it at all. And best believe, other artists in the industry are watching all of this unfold. They're seeing what happened to Blueface and taking notes. It's a harsh reality check about why proper legal advice and knowing your contract terms matter more than anything. Before signing anything, you got to protect yourself, because once that ink dries, it's too late to cry foul. The truth is, what Wack100 has with Blueface isn't even a real manager-artist relationship. It's more like an owner-employee setup. A real manager works for the artist, helps them grow, and makes sure they win, not structured deals that keep them trapped while they stack profits. What Wack pulled off is basically an extreme version of a 360 deal, the kind where a label takes a cut from everything the artist does, from music to merch to appearances. But even most 360 deals don't go that far, not 70%. That's beyond aggressive. That's exploitation dressed up as management. This whole thing serves as a brutal lesson to every up-and-coming artist. Slow down, read everything, and get someone who actually understands the business before signing anything. Because one bad deal can turn your dream career into a lifetime of working for somebody else. That kind of deal is way over the line, totally excessive by any industry standard. And the scary part, if contracts like this start becoming the norm, it could completely change how young artists get treated in the game. Managers and labels might start thinking, hey, if Wack100 could take 70%, why can't we? That would open the door for more exploitation, especially since a lot of new artists are desperate to get their foot in the door and will sign almost anything just to get noticed. And it's not just business that gets destroyed. Personal relationships do too. Blueface probably looked up to Wack100 as a mentor, maybe even like a father figure, someone who believed in him when no one else did. But now he's realizing that the whole time he was being taken advantage of. That kind of betrayal cuts deep. When an artist can't build wealth from their own success, it doesn't just hurt them, it hurts everyone who depends on them. Blueface has kids, family, and people who should have been benefiting from his wins. Instead, most of the money that should have gone to his family is still going straight to Wack100. The stress from that kind of situation is no joke. Financial struggles, legal pressure, and feeling trapped in a deal you can't escape. It all eats away at your mental health. Success is supposed to bring peace and freedom, not sleepless nights and anxiety. When you're only holding on to 30% of your own earnings, it's tough to stay creative and motivated. Like, why give 100% effort when someone else is collecting most of the rewards? That kills your drive real quick. This is exactly why the industry needs real reform. Actual rules that protect young artists from these shady, one-sided contracts. There should be clear limits on how much a manager or label can take, especially from artists who are new and still learning the ropes. And for deals that go beyond a certain percentage or dollar amount, there should be mandatory legal reviews and a waiting period before anyone signs. That pause alone could save careers. Education is another huge part of the solution. The music industry should be investing in programs that teach new artists about basic business, how contracts work, what fair percentages look like, and what warning signs to watch out for. If more artists understood how these deals are structured, way fewer people would fall into traps like this. And on top of that, there should be real peer support. Experienced artists who've already been through the fire need to step up and mentor newcomers, share their stories, expose the scams, and help the next generation move smarter. The cycle won't stop until the veterans start protecting the rookies. Transparency should be a rule too. Contracts should clearly list the total percentage being taken and compare it to the industry average, so artists actually know what they're agreeing to before signing anything. That kind of honesty could change everything. Because at the end of the day, Blueface is the real victim here. He was a young dude who caught a viral moment and thought it was his big break, but instead of it setting him up for life, it set someone else up to get rich off his grind. And this isn't just one bad deal, it's a systemic issue. The music business has a long history of experienced execs preying on hungry, inexperienced artists who don't know what they're getting into. Until that system changes, this same story is going to keep playing out again and again, just with different names. The biggest lesson in all of this? Knowledge is power. Every artist coming up needs to learn the business side just as much as the creative side. Don't just trust, verify. You can believe what someone's telling you, but always double-check it with real legal advice and credible sources. That's how you keep your money, your freedom, and your peace of mind. Just because someone looks successful or acts trustworthy doesn't mean they truly have your back. The truth is, in this industry, appearances can be deceiving, and not everyone flashing wealth is rooting for your success. When it comes to making business moves, you've got to think long-term. A deal that sounds amazing today could end up costing you millions tomorrow. One signature can change your whole future, for better or for worse. Hopefully, situations like this will wake people up and bring real change to the music game. Maybe we'll start seeing more protection for young artists and more accountability for managers who take advantage of them. The industry needs to evolve because talent should lead to independence, not financial traps. And as for Blueface, his legacy might now be tied as much to this contract nightmare as it is to his music. That's tragic, but maybe there's still a silver lining. If his story helps other young artists avoid falling into the same kind of setup, then at least some good will come from the pain he went through. His experience can serve as a warning that saves others from the same fate. So here's the final word. To every up-and-coming artist out there, learn from Blueface's mistake. Don't let the excitement of a big opportunity blind you. Get your own lawyer, read every page, and never let anyone rush you into signing something you don't fully understand. Your future, your family's future, and your peace of mind depend on the choices you make right now. The music industry can be a beautiful space, full of creativity and opportunity, but it can also be ruthless if you walk in unprepared. Stay smart, stay informed, and never trade your freedom for a quick check. Remember this, if a deal sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If you found this story eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Let's spread the word and help protect the next generation of artists from getting caught up in the same kind of game.